All right, welcome. Today, we're going to dive into the powerful combo that's totally changing the game for app development, Dart and Flutter. It's all about how this duo lets developers build for pretty much any device, all from a single blueprint.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a problem that developers have been banging their heads against for years. You've got this killer app idea, right? But to get it to everyone, you have to build it for iPhones, then for Androids, then for the web, and each one needs a totally different set of plans.
Think about it like this. You're a builder. For one house, you need a specific set of blueprints and tools. But for the house right next door? Nope, you need a completely different set. It's just a massive waste of time, money, and energy. Well, that's exactly the headache of app development.
So to fix this mess, a whole new way of thinking was needed. And that brings us to the first piece of our modern solution, this amazing toolkit called Flutter.
Now, before we go any further, we need to get this straight, because it's super important. Flutter is the framework. That's the box of power tools, the pre-made parts like windows and doors. Dart, on the other hand, is the language you use to write the instructions. They're a team, two sides of the same coin, but they each have their own job to do.
Yeah, so Flutter is exactly that, the ultimate power toolkit. It's just loaded with all these ready-to-go pieces like buttons and sliders and text fields, and it lets developers whip up gorgeous working apps incredibly fast.
But, a box of the best tools in the world is pretty useless if you don't have a plan, right? You need instructions. You need a blueprint. And that is where Flutter's crucial partner comes into play, the architect's language, Dart.
And there it is. This is really the key idea to lock in. Flutter gives you the tools to build the house, and Dart gives you the detailed architectural plans that show you exactly how. The magic happens because they fit together so perfectly.
And make no mistake, Dart is a legit, proper language with its own rules. Things are case-sensitive, you end your sentences or statements with a semicolon, and every single program knows exactly where to start, in this thing called the main function. And all this structure, it's what makes the final building, the app, super sturdy and predictable.
All right, so we've got the tools, we've got the blueprint. What's the big deal? Why is this particular partnership so special? Well, it really comes down to one word: performance.
And here's the secret sauce for Flutter's speed. Unlike a lot of other ways of building apps, Dart doesn't need some middleman to translate what it's saying. It basically speaks the phone's native language directly, which means there are no slowdowns.
And what does that mean for you when you're actually using the app? It means everything feels buttery smooth. The animations, the scrolling, it's all just incredibly snappy. It feels just as fast and responsive as an app that was custom built for that one specific phone.
Now, for the people actually building these things, the developers, this is a huge deal. By using just one blueprint for every single house, they can save 30%, sometimes even more, of their development time. In the tech world, where speed is everything, that's an absolute game changer.
So how do they pull this off? How do they save all that time? It's all about this beautiful idea: write once, run anywhere. A developer writes their code one time, using Dart. Then Flutter acts like the master builder, taking that one set of plans and building a perfect, high-speed app for iOS, Android, the web, you name it. And the best part? No compromise on speed.
But wait, there's more. The story doesn't just stop at being fast and efficient. Dart has some seriously powerful features under the hood that make it just perfect for building solid, modern apps. So let's peek under that hood a little bit.
First up is something called type safety. Think of this like having a super smart inspector on your construction site 24/7. Dart is constantly checking to make sure you're using the right materials in the right places, like making sure you don't accidentally try to use a number where a word is supposed to go. This one little thing catches a ton of bugs before they can ever cause a problem.
Dart is also what we call an object-oriented language. And this idea actually takes our whole blueprint analogy one step further. Instead of having one giant, messy blueprint for the entire house, imagine you have smaller, reusable blueprints for things like a window or a door. In coding, we call these classes, and they let developers build really complex, organized apps way more efficiently.
Okay, this next one is so important for modern apps. You know that annoying moment when an app just freezes while it's loading something? Yeah, we've all been there. Dart is specifically designed to stop that from happening. It can do heavy lifting, like grabbing data from the internet, in the background, so the app you're looking at never freezes up. It just keeps everything running smoothly.
So, okay, we've got this killer toolkit and this brilliant language that work perfectly together. But what really seals the deal, what makes this a truly professional setup, is who's behind it all.
It turns out the toolmaker, Flutter, and the architect, Dart, both come from the exact same company, Google. This wasn't some random accident. They were designed together from the very beginning to be a perfect match.
And having Google in your corner, that comes with some serious perks. We're talking seamless integration, a constant flow of updates and support, amazing documentation. It all adds up to a reliable, trustworthy choice that major companies all over the world depend on.
All right, let's wrap this all up and put a bow on it. The whole process is actually incredibly elegant. You start by creating one master blueprint using Dart. Then you use the toolkit that was made for it, Flutter. And with just those two things, you can build a beautiful, high-performance home on any foundation you want. An iPhone, an Android phone, a website, anything.
You see, this completely flips the old way of developing apps on its head. It shifts the focus from building lots of different things to just perfecting one master plan, which really just leaves us with one final and pretty exciting question to think about. When the architect's blueprint and the builder's tools are this perfectly in sync, what can't you build?